I'm Alpina Singh, and welcome to Check Please. This is the show where regular people from all over Chicago recommend and review their favorite restaurants. So this is how the show works. Every week we have 3 guests. Each recommends his or her favorite spot, and the other 2 go to check them out to see what they think. This week, Human Resources Director Crystal Brayboy says if you want a spot with heart and soul, a great vibe anytime, day or night, and prices that won't break the bank, she knows just the place. But CPS teacher Quetzali Castro says from the fabulous food to the inventive cocktails, her choice does a masterful job of combining old school Mexican flavors with modern techniques. But at first, firefighter Michael Rashid says his red hot selection is a perfect way to spend a special night out. He says from sizzling steaks to sublime service, there's no better way to splurge than at Fulton Market's Swift & Sons.
We are a modern take on a classic Chicago steakhouse. We take liberties with a lot of things on our menu, but we always include the staples. We have all your traditional steakhouse cuts. You'll find enough of your traditional steakhouse sides here, but there's 20% of the menu here that we can really take time and play with. The building itself, though, kind of pays homage to the stockyards and the packing plants. The whole building that we're in used to be a coal blocker. It's very modern design and a space that is very respectful to what it once was. You should feel special when you eat at Swift. It's a big restaurant, big personalities here, there's big portions. You should feel special whether you're in here 3 times a week or whether you're in here once a year. Our staff is so welcoming of everyone, and I feel like they really put their arms around you. I think the food's pretty good too.
So Michael, you say that Swift & Sons is sensational. Tell us why you chose it.
I feel that in a city of great steakhouses and amazing restaurants, you can't beat Swift & Sons for a special occasion. My first time there was when my wife and I got engaged about 3 years ago. And as far as service and the quality of food, I don't think that it can be beat. Probably 3 of the top 5 meals I've ever had in my life have been at Swift & Sons.
Oh, wow. But you said it yourself, in a city full of steakhouses. So how does Swift & Sons differ from your classic Chicago steakhouse place?
I feel where the classic Chicago steakhouse has, the dark colored carpet, the oak wood walls, and the fake fireplace in the corner, the waiter with the butcher coat on, I feel that it's beyond that, where they know that they have a great steak. They know that their food is excellent. They also know that they have great service. They don't need to prove anything. They treat you well from the second you walk in, and then just the quality of the food is beyond belief.
Crystal, what do you think?
I thought that Swift & Sons was completely magical. I thought it was sophisticated, sexy, and I like a sexy restaurant. I thought that the food was special in the sense that the flavor profiles had layers that were unexpected. I started off with the mushroom ravioli that was on the top of like a lemony cream that was just a special pop in your mouth. And I had a lovely kind of Thai-style lobster soup. And I've been to Thailand, and the flavors were spot on. It took me back.
Oh, great.
So,
Thai soup is not something that you get at a steakhouse.
No.
I was also surprised by that. They had they recommended the rock shrimp tempura, and that was really delicious.
I had that too.
I was surprised by that. I was
That's
like,
one of
okay.
our main, when my wife and I go there, the rock shrimp tempura is one of those things where when we're walking in, it's, all right, we're getting the rock shrimp tempura, and what else?
Steakhouse, you gotta have steak. What's your go-to steak?
I don't think that you can go wrong with any steak on the menu. Usually it's the ribeye, but lately I've been a porterhouse fan, and they have a 48-ounce porterhouse that's for the table, which they deconstruct, they cut it, so everybody gets a taste of both the filet and the strip. That's gonna be my go-to from now on.
And what about sides?
So they have these potatoes, and they're like a fingerling potato tossed with a ranch dressing that were amazing.
Like ranch.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I left knowing I had to go back. Like for the sides, we also had the mushroom side. so good. And I had the salmon, and my husband had ordered the surf and turf with like a bone marrow on the side. And I feel like the servers were really thoughtful about like how the food was coming up and like explaining everything as it came out. They also took some extra steps to say like, hey, like if you're gonna order the bone marrow, you're gonna want some bread. And I'm like, yes. I'm like sopping up like all the like wonderful like bone marrow. For an appetizer, I also ordered the tomato and burrata salad, and they were like, oh yeah, like we split it into 2 dishes for you. I felt like really well taken care of, and like the whole experience was just quite the experience. I left knowing like, yeah, we had to go back.
They also have a dessert cart that comes out that looks like a little train on a cart.
It was lighted and made out of wood, and they had just levels of things you could choose from for just, you know, a few dollars, so you could kind of mix and match your desserts, which was extra special. And they have a bar cart as well that had a really lovely mixologist who rolled the cart up to the table. Something I'd never seen before, really special touch.
Part of a great steakhouse experience is theater. You want the show.
I had a show. They have an actual show, I believe, that you can purchase.
There's a guy that goes around and does
So
like,
it's like
he does like, have you had that before?
I have. The night that my wife and
Amazing.
the night that my wife and I got engaged, Swift and Sons decided to take it upon themselves to pay for the paid magic show, which I'm not easily impressed, but my wife, word for word, walked out and said, that was real.
So what did he do? Like, did he?
It was card tricks.
He made the bill disappear.
I wish. I wish. That would have been an even better trick. But there were card tricks and different just sleight of hand stuff. It was very good.
All right, Michael, you pick Swift and Sum. Sum it up for us.
Definitely a top-notch steakhouse in a city full of great steakhouses, built for special occasions, amazing service, amazing food, amazing cocktails. Can't wait to go back.
All right, Katsali?
Wonderful for a special occasion. Would definitely go back there, even for not so special occasions. And it's also in a really great neighborhood to do things afterwards.
And Crystal?
Swift & Sons is a sophisticated, classy restaurant that I would love to return to with special touches that make your night memorable.
All right. Well, you can try the steaks and much more at Swift & Sons, 1000 West Fulton, 312-733-9420. They're open for dinner every day. Reservations are accepted, and the average tab per person without drinks is $75. Logan Square is filled with interesting restaurants, and Katsali Castro says a relative newcomer is at the head of the class. She says for a colorful, delectable experience, join her and Chef Diana Davila at Tocaya.
One thing that was really important to me was to have an open kitchen so I could kind of see everything that's happening, and to really just make it seem like a small, something that you could feel like in Latino households, everybody kind of gathers around the kitchen. So I feel like it really kind of embodies that. And I wanted to showcase the love that we have for the nostalgic dishes. What would it be like to grow up as the flavors that you're eating growing up as a Mexican kid? And showcasing just how vast the Mexican cuisine is. To show that it's one of the biggest, baddest cuisines of the world. To be any kind of good artist, you know, you have to put yourself out there. You have to give it your everything. Everything has like a little sprinkle of yeah, you're sold. My favorite compliment, oh, I know they don't like this, is like that the food reminds them of their mother or their grandmother. I think that's always my favorite. It always just makes me cry, and we're like, yes, you know, that's what I wanted.
So Quetzali, you say that meat Tocaya is memorable. Tell us why you chose it.
Yes. So I am Mexican. I was born in Mexico City, and I get cravings. I get antojos, and that's what mi Tocaya Antojería is. It's those cravings that you get as like a Latino, a Latina. They have so many ingredients in that restaurant that are like very Mexican that is really hard to find on any menu anywhere else, and that's something I love.
So to say that Chef Diana Davila is passionate about Mexican food would be a wide understatement.
Wild understatement.
She wanted to create a space that would be like if you went to somebody's home in Mexico and you're eating what they would eat. Would you agree with this?
I would definitely agree. There are some things that like took me back, and I was like, my grandma used to make this, and I'm like, oh. And so I have a hard, like, people have a hard time getting me to go to Mexican restaurants, and I'm like, my mom cooks better, or like my grandma cooks better. And I went here kind of like begrudgingly at first, but one of my friends was like, no, like it's really great, try it. And I went, and I've been going back ever since.
Michael, you got the order to go to mi Tocaya. Your first time to Logan Square.
My first time to Logan Square, which will definitely not be my last time to Logan Square. Such a high energy, beautiful neighborhood. I cannot wait to go back. So we started off with the guacamole, which was, to me, it was a little bland. It needed something. We had chips and salsa, which was amazing. And then we moved into like the small plate thing where we had different kinds of tacos and a steak burrito, which I thought I had the best steak burrito in the world. This was like above and beyond, melt in your mouth steak, best burrito I've ever had. But the star of the show was, and I never expected as a lover of barbecue to have barbecue ribs at a Mexican restaurant that blew me away. That I cannot wait to eat those again. I've had cravings of those barbecue ribs since that day.
And that's the Mexican phrase, like, ¿qué se te antoja? Like, what are you craving right now? And I'm just like, oh, like that burrito is, I dream about that burrito every once in a while, yeah.
I have a dream too. I'm sorry to cut you off. I dreamed about the tres leches cake that was soaked in the coconut milk.
Yes.
Oh my goodness.
They get that from Christopher's Bakery in Pilsen. So it's the Christopher's Tres Leches, and that is just like such a staple bakery. And I also love that like Chef Gianna like also supports local Mexican food and businesses as well.
I went on a Sunday where they had a more limited menu, but I think that was by design. So there's I think it's called Domingo Familia.
Yeah, Diana has 2 children, and she's very passionate about keeping that work-life balance, and she spends time with her family on Sundays.
Though they had a limited menu, it was really special because the food, you ate it family style, and I had the cochinita pibil, which I think is pork shoulder, marinated to the gods. It was totally tender, totally melting your mouth, and the portions were amazing.
What about the bebidas, the drinks?
We had several mezcal margaritas, which so refreshing and so good.
So my favorite is the chicana. It's this beautiful purple color. The Doña Irma is also like beautifully garnished. There's just like really great flavors.
Krista, what was the crowd like?
So the crowd at Mi Tocaya was very energetic, lots of talking, lots of groups. People looked like they were having a really great time. My one note would probably just be that I didn't really see myself reflected in the space, and so I generally look for that when I go to places, but from the moment I walked through the door, I did feel, of course, absolutely welcomed, so I did enjoy that they made me feel like they wanted me there and they wanted to see me.
Quetzali,
Yes.
this is a very personal project for Diana. Is that reflected in the decor of the restaurant?
Oh, for sure. I feel like that, in contrast, I feel very reflected there. I think that it's probably one of the truest like representations of like modern Mexico, and it's super eclectic, super fun, very colorful. It's just like really beautiful to just see like so many like Mexican artifacts around.
All right, Katsali, you recommended Tocaya. Sum it up for us.
Tocaya is a very authentic, very real Mexican place serving wonderful, heightened dishes that will surprise you at all times. Yeah.
Okay. Crystal?
Tocaya is thoughtful, elevated Mexican fare in a very cute space that I would definitely return to should I be local.
Okay. And Michael?
Beautiful restaurant in a great area with great outdoor seating. Excellent Mexican food done to the 10th degree.
All right. Well, you can try the guacamole and much more for yourself at Tocaya, Antojería, 2800 West Logan Boulevard, 872-315-3947. They're open for dinner Tuesday through Sunday. Reservations are accepted, and the average tab per person without drinks is $35. Crystal Brayboy knows that one of the secrets to a successful restaurant is making the customers feel at home. She says there's one spot above all others where she feels that warmth every time she visits. It's in Madison, and it's called Hidden Manna Cafe.
We serve Cajun and Creole food. We just play with food.
Real estate got us into the business, got us into the restaurant business. We bought the building, we rehabbed, then we were going to lease it out. But then we were kind of spiritually moved to run it ourselves. So that's how we got in the business.
My grandmother taught me a lot of cooking between my grandmother and my mother. I like to play with food, so we just try different recipes, and if they work, they stick.
We do everything from scratch, so it takes us a little longer here at times because we do it from scratch. It's not sitting back there waiting on you to order it. What we found by doing it that way, the quality of the plate is much better. The flavor's even different when you do it that way, so we kind of stick with that.
We just want them to feel rested and rejuvenated and full.
So Crystal, you say that Hidden Manna makes you smile. Tell us why you chose it.
I chose Hidden Manna Cafe because I believe that they think soul first and food second, though the food is great. I enjoy a space where I can walk in and feel like there's someone waiting for me. They're waiting for me to come, they're waiting for me to come back, and they greet me with a lot of love.
Welcome to Hidden Manna Cafe.
And I think that Hidden Manna gets that so right.
All right. Katsali, what'd you think?
Yes. Oh, it was wonderful. I got to go there on a day where they had live music, and it was somewhere between like smooth jazz and like live WGCI, and I was just like loving the whole experience. I definitely like taking a look and like people watching and everything. It definitely looked like an older crowd and a lot of married couples, and everyone was just really enjoying the live music when we were there.
Michael, another first for you. You went to Madison.
Yes, it was my first time in
Sending you all over the new places.
in Madison. But it's not a place where you would say, let's go out for a night on the town in Madison or Madison.
So you pull up to this what looks like a cute little house.
It's almost like somebody took a Victorian house from the late 1800s and turned it into a beautiful restaurant.
Yeah. And in fact, it is a landmark. The owners, Glynis and Mark, were going to rehab and turn it into a coffee shop. And then because her family's like, well, what food are you going to serve? And Glynis's family is from New Orleans, and so it ended up falling to sort of a Creole flair to it. Mm-hmm. So how'd you find the food?
The food was excellent. We had fried green tomatoes as a starter. The entrees that we had were macaroni and cheese with a fried chicken breast that was delicious. Homemade quality mac and cheese with like a perfectly cooked fried chicken breast on top that wasn't greasy at all, but still had great crunch.
You know, they do have a lot of secrets for their cooking, and Crystal says their waffle, the fried chicken and waffles, there's some secret in there.
There is some secret in that chicken and waffle. There is something very sugary, cinnamony that is in that waffle batter that just makes it pop in your mouth. And I'm glad that you brought up this perfectly cooked chicken breast, because their batter on, I mean, you're going to be on your plate, like, you know, getting the crumbs. Absolutely. Because it's absolutely wonderful.
All right, Katsali, what did you eat?
I also had the fried green tomatoes, and I just feel like that's something wherever you get like access to Southern food, you're like, yes, this. We also shared 3 big entrees. We got to have like a pasta, and we tried the hidden manna like specials, and those were also really delicious.
So my go-to items, I definitely go to hidden manna often for breakfast. So I always have 2 entrees at a time. And I have the shrimp and grits. I think the shrimp and grits are the best in the area. They're creamy. The sauce and the andouille, like chicken sausage they put in it, is amazing. The peppers, onions. And I also always have the chicken and waffles. I think that the maple cream sauce that you put on top of the chicken and waffles is so special. So you don't use syrup. It's just this creamy maple based. Yeah. Have I told you? Yeah, so if you go, just slather it on, and you'll leave a happy camper.
I feel like we went at the perfect time, which was like 11 o'clock a.m. So we had access to a breakfast menu and to the lunch menu, and it was very, very good. It's the food that you want to eat on a rainy day and then go home and take a nap.
Comfort food for
Absolutely.
sure. Yeah, it feels like I'm walking into my friend's house and her mama's gonna feed me until I'm stuffed.
So, Michael, there's a sign in the restaurant that says, "We hug."
Absolutely, and that is not false advertising. From the second we walked in, we felt like we were part of the family there. At one point, we had our 8-week-old son there, and one of the servers at the restaurant, it might have been the owner, heard that he was fussing a little bit, decided to pick him up and make sure that he was okay. And it was just one of those touches where we felt like we were part of the family while we were eating there.
Yeah, the owners are ever present, which is lovely. Glenn,
do you get hugs?
I get hugs. I do get hugs, and who doesn't return for hugs, right? You get hugs and great food. I don't think you can beat it.
All right, Crystal, you picked Hidden Manna. Sum it up for us.
Hidden Manna is a restaurant that you can visit when you want to go and feel fed and loved on. And it's great for breakfast, especially maybe after church.
Michael?
It's an off the beaten path restaurant that I would go back to if I was in the area, but if it was down the street from my house, I would eat there once a week.
And Katsali?
Hidden Manna is a really great place to get some soul food, to get that comfort food, if you can make the trip out there.
All right. Well, you can try the fried green tomatoes and much more for yourself at Hidden Manna, 3613 West 216th Street in Madison, 708-248-5571. Open for breakfast and lunch 7 days a week, also for dinner on the weekends. Reservations are accepted for large parties, and the average tab per person without drinks is $20. So in this week's show, we feature Swift & Sons on Fulton, meet Tocaya and Logan Square, and Hidden Manna in Madison. Let's recap what our guests had to say. First, we headed down Fulton Market and swung by Swift & Sons. Michael recommends it for its updated steakhouse experience with stellar food, service, and style. Katsali says it's great for special occasions in a fun and vibrant neighborhood. Crystal loved the sophisticated, sexy atmosphere and memorable food. Next, we went down Logan Boulevard and tried out Meet Tocaya. Katsali recommends it for its authentic and craveable Mexican cuisine. Crystal enjoyed the elevated dishes and cocktails in a cute, colorful space. Michael loved the exciting neighborhood and the excellent food and drink. Lastly, we took a trip to 216th Street and stopped in at Hidden Manna Cafe. Crystal recommends it for delicious Cajun dishes, family atmosphere, and warm hugs. Michael appreciated the welcoming and attentive service and tasty comfort food. Quetzali says it's worth the trip for the fun vibe and fried green tomatoes. Well, we've had just a wonderful time this week, and I'd like to thank my guests, Crystal Brayboy, Quetzali Castro, and Michael Rashid. Join us next week for 3 new guests recommending 3 of their favorite restaurants right here on Check Please. I'm Alpina Singh, and I'll see you then. Well, cheers.
For more information about the restaurants featured on Check Please, go to WTTW.com/checkplease.